few weeks ago that I kind of wanted to share with you. Now, I understand that this idea wouldn't be applicable in all situations, and that there are times that this just wouldn't work. But you could surely, someone smarter than me could surely fine-tune this idea. So the biggest issue in my mind with policing in general, and this goes from everything to, deep undercover investigations on down to, on the beat patrol type work, is you have a human being that has their own hopes and dreams, and their biggest concern when they go to work is probably getting home at the end of their shift. And that's fine. When I go to work, I've got a heck of a commute. You guys have seen me podcast from the road while I'm out driving. And one of my biggest concerns is getting back home safe to my family. I don't want to leave my wife a widow or leave my kids fatherless, so I take my time. I leave early so I don't have to rush into work and deal with as much traffic. When I get off work, I'm taking my time. I'm watching everybody. While I'm at work, I'm paying attention to what's going on around me and making sure that I'm not in harm's way while I'm building these trucks. Okay, fine. The same thing goes for cops, and understand that a lot of times, like, okay, you go in on a domestic violence call out one time a month. I don't know what the average is for cops, but you're kind of seeing the worst of people at that point. And that's bound to mess with you, and probably very likely to put you on edge. You see that, you see people that are on drugs, you deal with robberies, you go investigate, violent crimes. It probably, you don't show up to a thing where, you never hear the stories where a husband came home to his wife and dinner wasn't ready, so he gave his kids a hug and a kiss, and gave his wife a hug and a kiss, and said, "That's fine, I'll help you out," and help finish cooking dinner, which happens all the time in modern America. I did it for a long time. So it doesn't, they just don't see that, so they're probably on edge all the time. But I had this idea: have human-controlled robots to deal with these situations, or as many of them as you can feasibly do. The robots that I'm thinking, a little drone that you can, say you pull somebody over, this drone flies up to the car, lands next to the car on the roof, whatever, the cop's in control of it, says, "Hey, put your license, insurance, registration on the drone, or if it's on your phone, let me snap a picture of it real quick, I'll bring you a ticket." Or, whatever we gotta do. Okay, fine. The cop, it kept the cop out of harm's way. Because, first off, if that person didn't pull off in a safe area, the cop doesn't have to get out of his car while there's traffic around. So he doesn't have to worry about that. If the person's up to no good, the cop doesn't have to worry about getting shot at initially. And the robot can ferry the data back and forth, and if you could even equip this little drone with sensors that if there's, drugs in the, drug smells in the car, picking up the smell of alcohol or marijuana or whatever, And, you know, the guy's got a camera, so if dude's eyes are bloodshot or he's acting intoxicated, the cop can tell. But then suppose the situation escalates, you know, guy's drunk or high, or there's a warrant for his arrest, whatever. Well, sir, you're going to have to get out of this vehicle. No, I'm not getting out of the car. Well, here's the deal. This drone has buddies that can come and do more, and I don't want these drones to be like all powerful and, you know, can lift 5 times what this guy weighs and break bones and all that. I don't want that, but, you know, just an escalation in the amount of force that these things can bring to bear. There was a police thing, this was brought out, I've seen this, it was 2020 or 2021, called a BOA. Think of it like a taser, but where you point and shoot this thing at a guy, but it wraps them up so they can't move their arms, or you could make it where they can't move their legs, whatever. It's just kind of a neat little thing. It just lassos them effectively. Something like that would be pretty darn cool, because you can, you know, lasso someone in their car and then, okay, now I'm going to come get you. You could tase, you could pepper spray, you know, all non-lethal options that you could use with these little drones. And then in, you know, situations where, you know, you might be dealing with a hostage type situation, you could send in something that could take all the bullets in the world and then just tase the crap out of all the bad guys in there or something, you know. We've been using these things, you know, controlled law enforcement things when it comes to EOD, explosive ordnance disposal, and things like that for a while. So why not have them under human control, limited in what they're able to do as far as inflict actual harm, but it's something that you can do to keep the cop out of harm's way in a lot of circumstances. The thing I like about it is I've been pulled over a bunch. I hadn't had a lot of tickets, but I've been pulled over a bunch. And there were times where you can tell that the cop is definitely on edge as far as, you know, there have been times that I've, you know, told the cop he's wrong about something. You know, one time I was accused of running from the police, which was not the case, but I was very respectful. Yes sir, no sir, yes sir, no sir, yes sir, no sir. Basically, I'm going to do that till he either writes me a ticket, lets me go, or cuffs me in the back of his car, and then I'll go talk to a judge, and whatever happens, happens, but I'm going to straighten the situation out. But there have been a couple times where you can tell the cop's expecting way more trouble than I'm gonna be, just because I don't want to go to jail, I don't want to get in trouble, I don't want a huge ticket, I don't want to tick this cop off and have him throw the book at me because I've been a jerk. So the thing about that is it already puts the cop on ease, because okay, this thing pops out of the trunk or the pod on the roof of his car, wherever it comes out of. Cop's sitting in his car comfortable, not getting wet, not getting cold, not getting hot, not having cars whiz past him. If someone pulls up and shoots this, when the drone pulls up, someone shoots it out of the side of the car, that drone took a bullet for a cop. Okay, you can say whatever you want about the police, but that dude has people that care about him and love him. So at the end of the day, that drone did its job and life is good. And the cop stayed out of harm's way for a minute, and at least enough to realize that, oh, this person really means business, so when I go in there, I need to go in ready to really take care of myself versus just being suspicious of whoever I just pulled over. And, you know, if a drone came up and was hovering next to my window and put your license and registration on this thing, and I'm gonna bring it back here and do whatever we got to do, okay, fine. Well, guess what? I can still talk to that cop and officer. You know, one time I got pulled over, I ran a red light, and I ran it, I kid you not, right in front of the cop. The whole reason I ran it, it was a very windy day out, and I was getting ready to go through this intersection. Well, the wind was bobbing the light like this, and so I couldn't see it. It was green. The wind catches it, takes it up, brings it back, and then I'll look up again and it's yellow, and I don't know how long it's been yellow. I checked my rearview mirror getting ready to get on the brakes, and there's a guy tailgating, and I knew he was going to end up in my trunk if I tried to stop, so I just floored it and went through the intersection. It was right where the speed limit increased, so I wasn't worried about getting a ticket for speeding. Cop lit up behind me. Okay, fine, I know exactly why you're pulling me. And oh, the funny part is as I'm clearing the intersection, I look around to see if there's a cop, and there's a cop that was stopped at the head of the light that had just turned green as I blew through the red. So I knew I was going to get pulled over. Cop pulled me out, lit up behind me. One thing I never do, I never stop on the street. The one time that I've been pulled over on the street, I was heading into a parking lot, and the cops got out before I could cross traffic. But whenever I get pulled over, I put my four-ways on. I'll drop to 5 or 10 below the speed I was going, or below posted, which is typically what I get pulled over at. And I rolled down the window and waved at the cop and drove and signaled my way into this bank parking lot. Well, cop's like, I pulled you over. I'm like, I bet I have a really good idea. He's like, you ran that red light back there. I'm like, okay, sir. Reason why I did is it was bobbing in the wind real bad. I didn't know when it changed. I looked up to check and see my rearview mirror, and there was a tan sedan right behind me, and if I would have hit the brakes, he was close enough, he probably would have hit me. He goes, oh, I seen that car. Then okay, yeah, okay, just let me get your license and registration. Okay. And I told him, hey, I have my concealed permit and there is a weapon in the vehicle, which there was. And he asked to see my permit and just see where the weapon was. Okay, everything was on the up and up as far as that was concerned, and he let me go. But up until the point where, one of the things, a concealed carry permit, you've got to have it's a higher standard of good conduct as far as not criminal behavior that you've got to get your concealed permit versus buy a firearm. You can buy a firearm if certain behaviors have happened in the past, like 1 to 3 years. Concealed permit stretches that out further, so you've really got to mind your P's and Q's, and you can't be getting in trouble with police at all if you're getting your concealed permit. But they're just talking with the cop, and he's talking to me, and I'm like, yeah, I just picked my car up for my wife. She drove it, and then turns out I needed it, so I swapped her out vehicles because I got to go to work, and it's a long way up the road, so getting something better on gas and swapping for the truck. So anyway, we're just talking and carrying on, and he goes back to his car, no ticket, have a nice day. Life was good. But there have been other times I've been pulled over where the cops are definitely expecting more of a problem. And as we, talk and, what happened? Well, why'd you do that? What happened? What's your side of the story kind of thing? Here's what I saw, explain it to me. They definitely ease up, but they're always expecting, the worst because they see the worst quite a bit. So, just an idea I had about police reform, send in little robots that are capable of all the cops do when it comes to the paperwork stuff. And even if they get blown out of the sky, so what? You're losing a $100 to $500 robot versus a cop. And that's definitely going to put the cops at ease because they're not in harm's way, or at least as close to being in harm's way when they're initially dealing with people. That's what I got, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Catch y'all next time. Stay safe.